Your desperate need for approval is literally the quietest form of self-destruction. It's been said that most young people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. And why? Because they spend their entire lives waiting for a green light that is absolutely never coming. If you keep looking outward for validation, you are handing the remote control of your future to people who do not care where you end up.
Okay, let's dive into this explainer. We're breaking down the exact blueprint to stop destroying your own potential. 1. Stop waiting for permission. 2. Reframe fear as data. 3. Audit your subconscious scripts. 4. Strategic emotional concealment. And 5. Decouple action from gratification.
So number one, stop waiting for permission. This is what we call the defensive tactic. You absolutely must stop waiting for permission to exist in your full power. You probably think seeking advice or constantly asking for approval is just you being humble, right? It's not. In reality, it's a defensive tactic. You're doing it to avoid accountability if you fail. You want someone else to blame. The terrifying part is your brain is actively sabotaging you right now, and you don't even realize it. When you look outward for validation, psychological studies show that you activate your brain's social rejection pathways. These circuits evolved to keep you in the tribe, because back then, isolation literally meant death. But today, this survival mechanism has completely gone rogue. It makes you physically afraid to take risks. Your heart races, your palms sweat. Your body literally treats a lack of approval as a physical threat to your existence. You feel real, agonizing pain over the imaginary judgment of absolute strangers. Because of this, you paralyze yourself by design. You wait for someone to say it's okay. You sit quietly in a cage of your own making, and you just rot. Just look at Charles Darwin. He sat on his groundbreaking theory of evolution for over 20 years. 2 decades of agonizing silence. Why? Because he was absolutely terrified of societal backlash. He feared the wrath of the church, he feared the judgment of his aristocratic peers. He let the dread of public rejection completely overpower his own monumental genius. He almost died an unknown coward. He only published his work when he was forced to, when another scientist was about to beat him to it, nearly losing credit for his entire life's work. Listen to me. You are doing the exact same thing with your ideas right now. The lesson here is brutal. No one is coming to give you a diploma that says you are allowed to be great. There is no authority figure waiting to anoint you. You have to grant that sanction to yourself, or you will die waiting. Moving to number 2, reframe fear as data. This is about finding the boundary of comfort. You have to radically change how you interpret self-doubt, anxiety, and discomfort. Right now, you see these feelings as blaring warning signs telling you to retreat to safety. You feel panic, and you immediately back down. But that resistance is simply the boundary of your current comfort zone. Put yourself in 49 BC, Julius Caesar led his army to the edge of the Rubicon River. This was not just a physical border, it was a massive psychological point of no return. Cross it, and you're a traitor, facing war. Retreat, and you're a coward. He faced the ultimate consequence. He felt immense paralyzing terror, but he didn't run. He recognized that the terror he felt was not a signal to retreat, it marked an exact path forward. He crossed it. He shattered that psychological boundary, uttering the famous words, "The die is cast," and changed history forever. He surrendered entirely to the outcome of his actions. There was absolutely no plan B. He didn't magically conquer his fear. He used it as a compass. When you feel terror about a new venture, that is your compass pointing true north. Stop running south. Stop choosing the anesthetic of safety over the friction of growth. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the biological mechanism happening behind the scenes. Neuroplasticity research proves that the brain only creates new pathways under friction. Without that intense discomfort, your brain physically will not change. It will not adapt. It will not grow. Every single time you choose comfort, your brain physically atrophies. It locks you further into your current limitations. The struggle you are actively trying to avoid is the precise mechanism required for you to evolve. Where you feel resistance is exactly where your next level lives. Honestly, if you're not terrified, you aren't expanding. You're simply decaying in a state of comfortable stagnation. Point number 3, audit your subconscious scripts. Let's talk about the autopilot trap. The terrifying reality is that you spend your days running completely on autopilot. You replay the exact same negative thoughts, you repeat the exact same self-limiting habits, and somehow, through pure delusion, you expect your life to magically transform. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what's happening. Look at that massive purple slice, 95%. Research on cognitive habits demonstrates that roughly 95% of our daily thoughts and decisions are driven entirely by our subconscious mind. You only have conscious control over 5% of your day. You're literally a passenger in your own body.
You think you're making choices, but you're just running an algorithm. You're being driven by scripts written years ago by people who are not you. Parents, teachers, a society that frankly profits off your mediocrity. Every time you doom scroll for hours, every time you engage in crippling negative self-talk, you are just executing an old program.
Consider Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. This man held absolute, unquestioned global power. Yet, despite ruling an entire empire through devastating plagues and endless wars, he wrote his meditations strictly to reprogram his own mind every single morning. He fought barbarians by day and his own mental weakness by night. He recognized that his massive external leadership was just a reflection of his internal thoughts. If an emperor commanding legions understood the urgent need to manually override his subconscious, what makes you think you can skip this step? If you do not actively rewrite the silent story you tell yourself when no one is watching, your life stays stuck on repeat forever. You will live the same year 80 times and call it a life. To break the loop, you must forcefully rewrite the code.
Moving to number 4, master strategic emotional concealment. Welcome to the dopamine trap. We need to talk about a fatal flaw you probably have. You confuse oversharing with honesty. You blurt out your biggest dreams, your strategic plans, and your deepest secrets to literally anyone who will listen. This has to stop immediately. See, when you tell people your plans before acting on them, your brain receives a cheap hit of dopamine. The biology of this is devastating. Your brain actually cannot tell the difference between talking about a goal and actually achieving it. It physically tricks you into feeling a sense of victory. That premature rush instantly kills your drive to actually do the work. It's chemical self-sabotage. Every single time you open your mouth to brag about a future plan, you are literally siphoning fuel straight out of your own engine. You trade total commitment for a fleeting moment of cheap validation. Think about this historical example. In 1519, Hernán Cortés landed in Mexico and issued a legendary, frankly terrifying order. He commanded his men to burn their own ships. By keeping his real strategies silent from his enemies and removing all options for retreat for his men, he forced total commitment. Total commitment requires the absolute death of your safety net. That fallback job, that comfortable routine, that excuse you keep hiding in your back pocket, burn it. Protect your ambitions with that same ruthless intensity. Keep your moves silent. Let them think you are doing absolutely nothing until it is too late for them to catch up. Stop talking about what you are gonna do and just do it in the dark. Let your results make the noise. Which brings us to our final point, number 5. Decouple action from gratification. This is all about the present bias. Let's move to and see how this builds into the core issue here. You are addicted to instant results. You work extremely hard for 2 weeks, see no dramatic life-altering outcome, get instantly disappointed, and then you just quit. You are sacrificing an entire empire for a quick hit of satisfaction. Look at this comparison on the screen. Modern behavioral psychology calls this present bias, our hardwired impulse to always choose short-term dopamine over massive future rewards. Present bias demands a quick fix, leading directly to quitting early. Compounding, on the other hand, demands patience, leading to true mastery. Just walk through the exact timeline of your failed goals. Excitement on day 1, uncomfortable friction by day 5, absolute surrender by day 14. You are trapped in a 2-week cycle of failure simply because you refuse to look at the horizon. When Thomas Edison was refining the incandescent light bulb, he failed thousands of times before creating a commercial success. Thousands of dark, frustrating, agonizingly unrewarding failures. He didn't quit after 2 weeks because he focused entirely on compounding rather than instant rewards. Compounding future rewards absolutely requires present-day suffering. True mastery requires you to show up and do the boring, essential work long after the initial excitement has faded. It's the silent, uncelebrated grind in the shadows that actually builds the foundation for greatness. There's no audience, there's no applause, just failure after failure. But that is the price of admission to mastery. You must entirely divorce your actions from your immediate desire for a reward, because if you need a gold star to keep going, you are never going to build anything that lasts. All 5 of these behaviors happen quietly. Seeking permission, running from fear, living on autopilot, chasing cheap dopamine, and quitting when it gets boring. You don't even notice them happening, but they destroy your future bit by bit. If you catch yourself making even one of these mistakes, you need to stop making excuses, because the quietest destruction requires no effort at all. It just requires you to remain exactly as you are. So the crucial point is this:
Are you going to take control today or quietly destroy your future bit by bit?